Sorry, I yelled loudly.
That's okay. I got the limiter on.
Okay. So
You can tell like
setting?
Yeah, you can tell.
Wait, really? It automatically limits it when I yell?
It does. When the pitch gets too high, it does. Sometimes if you sound like all robotic, it's because it's bringing the decibels down.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video, but we're gonna talk about some breaking comic book industry news. I know, right? We don't really talk about breaking comic book industry news unless it's the comic book industry breaking. IDW is delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. IDW Media Holdings, they're apparently delisting themselves. They've gone dark on the stock exchange. They announced their intent to delist and they're going to suspend their reporting status. And this is probably because all of the news coming out of IDW from a financial perspective has been negative. I honestly do not know how this publisher, how this company is still in business. They started bleeding out money before the pandemic and they've been losing licenses left and right. They've had some flirtation with success, I guess, on Netflix. They've had a couple of shows picked up, but none of them did very well. As I understand it, Lock and Key, they were hoping was going to be another Stranger Things, and that did not happen. They've been bleeding out for years. We're talking 5 years now, 6 years at least. And I used to work for IDW. I used to freelance for IDW, and I never had a negative, and I've said this repeatedly. People are like, you're just slamming on IDW. No, I actually never had a negative experience with anybody I worked with at IDW. I worked on the Disney comics over there when they had the license for all. I basically was like a carpet bagging Disney artist, creator, person, consultant, whatever. I just would kind of go from publisher to publisher. And one of the last publishers I worked for that had the Disney license, because I was already approved, was IDW. And I did some story. I'm trying to think what all I did. I did a couple of covers for them and I did some other stuff, but I never had any problems with the people working there. I really didn't. And I know a lot of people have had issues with people working there. Now, the one thing I had a problem with, and I think the last work I did for them was in, I want to say it was like 2014 or 2015, is getting paid. And that was back then. That was before it was widely reported that they have all kinds of financial problems. In fact, everything we've been talking about in relation to IDW has been their finances, the lack of finances. And, they've been losing licenses. They've been under $1 on the stock exchange for months now, I think. And I had a hard time getting paid. It took me months to get paid. And that's when things were supposedly good. So I think things have not been that great with IDW for a while. I think it has been kind of a shell game. They've been hoping for this Hollywood ship to come in and that one of their IP they were going to stick and they were going to make lots of money. And if they could just hold on for another day, for one more day, because comics didn't mean a lot to them. Then they had their games division and they blew that up. The games division was actually profitable and they blew that up, and now they're laying off 40% of their staff and they're delisting and restructuring. It's like, I don't even know. I mean, I would say they're going to sell this company, but who are they going to sell it to? Who are they going to sell it to? And, they don't really have anything. IDW's value is basically its licensed comics, and they've been losing those like crazy. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Geeky's not here to give you a woohoo, but I'll give you a woohoo. So woohoo. Good for you. Yeah, thank you very much, subbing for content. And look, I don't get off on watching the comic book industry burn. I grew up wanting to draw comics, make comics, write comics, be a part of this industry ever since I was probably 10, 12 years old. And it's been heartbreaking to see it in the condition that it's in, to watch it just blow itself up. The direct market, especially, just the Western comic book industry is just on a suicide run. And whether it's IDW or Marvel or DC or so many of these other publishers, in the last 5 or 6 years especially, they've gotten incredibly stupid. And manga has eaten their lunch. Graphic novels have eaten their lunch, and they just it's over. Comic books as we knew it is over. And we're still going to have comic books. We're still going to have graphic novels. We're still going to have comic shops or whatever you want to call them, geek emporiums or nerd shit or us or whatever it is or whatever they become. People will still buy back issues. They're still going to buy manga. They're going to buy trade paperbacks of stories written during much, much better times. And occasionally we're going to get some modern hits, But the comic book industry, as we've known it historically, I think has been done for a while. And, it's just basically the rigor mortis is starting to set in. So this is coming from Comics Beat, and then we're going to go out to their original release here. And what's interesting about this is coming from Comics Beat. This is Heidi McDonald. She's calling it the comics contraction of 23. Remember when comics journalists argued that comics were great, they've never been better, the numbers are fantastic, and there's nothing to see here, nothing to worry about? And now it's the comics contraction of 23. Last fall, we had lots of freelancers saying they weren't getting paid. And Heidi McDonald has been pushing real hard for people to support her on Patreon because her advertisers aren't paying her. Her advertisers mostly being comic book publishers. I'm just saying, Heidi, it's okay to admit that you're wrong. Seriously, you need to, I think you really need to come out and apologize to your readers and to a lot of comic book fans for basically covering for the comic book industry for years. I mean, it's obvious what's going on here. The industry is fundamentally broken. And you can say that. You can come out and say it. You're a journalist, right? You've been doing this for a long time. You've been watching it and you've seen comics in a much better place than they are now. You can come out and say, hey, the comic book industry is fundamentally broken right now, guys. I don't know what to tell you, but if you do that, you're going to piss some people off and they might not advertise on your site, I guess. I don't know. It's sad. It is sad. Anyway, the comics contraction of 23 continued today as IDW announced it's being delisted from the New York Stock Exchange, making large changes in senior management and laying off 39% of its workforce as part of cost-cutting measures. So this is the original announcement. They said that IDW Holdings, an integrated media company, today announced a series of significant moves in response to operational challenges to position the company for recovery and future growth. No, there is no recovery for you, IDW. You've lost, I think, the Hasbro licenses too. And Hasbro's kind of in the shit with fans right now. It didn't matter if you had them or not. You're not coming back. You're down for the count. IDW's board of directors has determined to implement a reduction of force, deregister the company's Class B common stock under the Securities Exchange Act of 34, delist the Class B common stock from the New York Stock Exchange, make changes in senior management, and implement cost-cutting measures. 39% of its current workforce, retaining essential personnel who are most directly related to preserving current operations and launching the company on its new trajectory. Where to where? Where are you? Ollie's? Are you going to launch the company to Ollie's? Where are you launching the company? The reduction in force and other steps after the effect of backfilling certain positions is expected to deliver approximately $4.4 million in annual savings, and is currently expected to result in approximately $0.9 million in severance and related costs to be recognized. Okay, so look, this is a company. This is like a full-blown company, right? This is a comic book company with a lot of employees. The numbers they're talking about are not large. There are individual comic book creators and YouTubers who are making more money than this crowdfunding, or making almost as much money as this crowdfunding. And this is an entire effing company. And they're like, guys, we're going to save like a little under $1 million. I'm like, that is change in the couch cushions for most companies. Like the fact that's kind of where you're at is not good. It is definitely not good. The company expects to hold approximately $5.7 million in cash and cash equivalents as of April 28th, 2023. The company has determined to voluntarily delist from the stock exchange. It was either that or they were going to do it for you, I think, because they've been under $1 now for quite a while. I mean, look at it. This is how it was going. Like back in 2018, they were $43 a share, and now we're down like freaking 72 cents, 44 cents a share. I mean, what the actual hell? You know, this is like, how did they let it get to this point? And there were so many calls to sell the company, so many calls to reorganize the company. What's going to happen is they're going to sell it. They're going to sell it, or they're going to sell off the IP or something. But what is there to sell? There's not much. They got what? Lock and key. They'll probably just revert back to the creators. I mean, a lot of stuff they have is creator owned. You know, you shut it down. You shut it down and those licenses just go to other comic book publishers if they're dumb enough to do it in this market. I mean, it's crazy. It's over. It's over. As reported by ICV2, last month's SEC filings reported a $335,000 loss for the publishing division in fiscal Q1 ending January 31st, down from a profit of $512,000 in 2022. Sales in the direct market were down $462,000, although book channel sales were up $734,000. Again, these are not large sums of money for a company, for a proper company that's been in business as long as IDW has been in business. There are individual YouTubers, individual comic book creators, authors making more money than that off of crowdfunding, off of one book. You know, look, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to rub salt in the wound, but I'm just saying, like, when we really look at this, like, this company is not sustainable on any level. Not on any level. So yeah, they said the new CEO, Jonas's son, they're going to reorganize, is expected to work hard. However, with the need to make pivotal changes to preserve value and transform the company, the board felt a new CEO with new ideas, a tireless work ethic, willingness to roll up his sleeves and do whatever is needed to help the company, with a successful record at creating a corporate culture of excellence and maximizing stockholder value, was what IDW needed. They needed it like 5 or 6 years ago. So this is this is the new person here. Blah 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 blah. Patient. Look, guy, I'm not even gonna read it. It doesn't even, like, none of this matters. It doesn't matter. This is like, IDW is a freaking revolving door of sadness and debt, and it needs to be shut down or sold off or something. It's not sustainable. It's not going to make it. IDW is not going to make it. And that is it. It's game over, and we're going to see a lot of other publishers, same fate. I think we're going to see Oni Press. I think we're going to see Dark Horse already noped out. They're already sold off. And this is just the state of the comic book industry right now, guys. It's things have changed at a breakneck pace. It's time to move on. And if you're a creator, it's very much time to move on and find some other revenue streams and not depend on publishers like this. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later. Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.